Okay, we are going back to koans tonight. Mumonkan, number 11. At this rate, we've probably got another 18 months or so to go. So this one, I'll do what I usually do. I'll read the koan, then I'll talk a bit, and I'll read it again and talk through it, and then we will discuss. So the koan, the title is Joshu sees the true nature of two kermits. Two little green frogs. Joshu sees the true nature of two hermits. Joshu came to a hermit and asked, "Are you in? Are you in?" The hermit held up his fist. "The water is too shallow to anchor a vessel," said Joshu, and went away. He then came to another hermit and called out, "Are you in? Are you in?" And the hermit also held up his fist. You are free either to give or to take away, either to kill or to give life," said Joshu, bowing at him. So that was the koan. Here is the commentary. Both held up their fists. Why did he approve the one and disapprove the other? Tell me, where is the core of the complication? If you can give a turning word on the point, you will see that Joshu is unrestrained in saying what he wants to say and utterly free, either to help the one rise up or to push the other down. Be that as it may, do you know that it was Joshu, on the contrary, whose true nature was seen by the two hermits? If you say the one hermit is superior to the other, you have not yet got the Zen eye. Or if you say there is no difference between the two, you have not yet got the Zen eye either. So here is the poem. His eye is a shooting star. His spirit is lightning. A sword to kill, a sword to give life. So a little bit of narrative, reminder, background, and so forth. So these koans are designed as to reduce to a fairly simple point that you hold, and that opens up as you concentrate intensely on that point. It opens up. It gives you this kensho, this satori. It's designed. It is truth. It is reality, and it helps. It's designed to open you up to that. And each of them, they're designed to work in different ways and approach truth, reality, kensho from different directions. And the koan has this place of tension in it. So a place to start is always to look for, where is the tension? Where's the thing I can't quite hold? And it's gibberish. I don't get it. If you tunnel into it, there's always going to be one thing in there that's the center of, this doesn't make sense. I don't get this. There's a conundrum in here. I can't find a way through. And then the players. So the conundrum. Well, I'll do the players first, and then I'll do the conundrum. The players here. Joshu features in like 8 or 10 of the koans in the Blue Cliff record, and he features in several in here. He was clearly just a remarkable human being. He was a student of Nansen, who I will mention in a minute. Joshu was the one who, when Nansen held up a cat and threatened to cut the cat in two, and Joshu put his straw sandal on his head and walked out. He apparently had a profound awakening experience in his 20s or 30s, and he spent the next 50 or 60 years just wandering around from teacher to teacher, deepening his realization. And then he finally, at the age of 80 years old, became the abbot of a monastery up on top of a mountain somewhere, which had holes in the walls. It was just this derelict place. So he's a very amazing guy. And all of these guys have their own personalities. He's an amazing person. So these two hermits, these are both, they both feel like, and the commentary suggests they are, these are realized beings. These are people who have woken up. So these are not students. He's wandering around talking to people who've woken up and are living in the mountains, the wilderness, on their own. All right, so the tension here is the two hermits both do exactly the same thing, right? That's what it looks like. They both raise a fist. And yet he treats them both completely differently. One he says something somewhat disparaging to, and one he says something uplifting to. So what's that about? What is going on there? Why? What? That's right. So, all right. So Joshu came to a hermit, Hermit 1, and he asked, "Are you in? Are you in?" What that's about? Are you in? Who's in? It's what's in the body. It's it is. Are you awake? Is really what that means. Are you awake? I could explain why it does, but it doesn't really matter. It's, are you awake? And the hermit held up his fist. And Joshu said, "The water is too shallow to anchor a vessel," which is somewhat dismissive, right? It's like there's not enough here for me to hang around and have a conversation with you. It's like you've got a realization, sure, but it's just not a very deep realization. That's kind of the implication. He then came to another hermit and called out, "Are you in? Are you in?" And the hermit also held his fist. And he said, "You are free either to give or to take away, either to kill or to give life." To give is to bring into this world. So it's references to the relative and the absolute, to the manifest and the unmanifest. To take away and to kill is to cut off. In the Theravadan tradition, it would be letting go or relinquishing or what's the word? Renunciation. It's cutting off, killing. So you're free to either take away or kill, or to give or give life, which is very affirming. It's coming into this world. It's flowers. It's the beauty of this life. So this is an individual who is able to fully function as a shopkeeper and a spouse and a child and a parent, or as a reclusive monk living on 3 blades of grass a day. And he bowed to him. So, the commentary, and I'll leave it there and we'll pass it as we go through the commentary. The commentary actually has 3 discrete sections. So section 1, both held up their fists. Why did he approve one and approve the other? If you can give a turning word, you'll see how Joshu engaged with these two. So that's the first point. The second point, be that as it may, do you know that it was Joshu whose true nature was seen by the two hermits? So that's point 2. And point 3, if you say the one hermit is superior to the other, or vice versa, you don't yet have the Zen eye. So it's this point of comparison of the two. If you compare the two, you're not there yet. So I'm going to, there's another story, and this one involves Nansen, which is in the Blue Cliff record, which looks a lot like this, only it comes at it a little differently. So I'm going to read you this one. Or I'm going to tell you this one. I made some notes on it. So there's a monk who's traveling around, and he has his walking stick, and he goes to one teacher, and he shakes his stick, and then he shoves it in the ground and stands it upright, and he stands up. And the teacher says, "Right." Monk nods, takes his stick out and wanders off, and he goes to another teacher, and this one's Nansen, who was Joshu's teacher. Shakes his stick and sticks it in the ground, and he stands there. And Nansen says, wrong. And the monk says, the other guy said right, and you said wrong. So the other guy said right. Why did you say wrong? He was right. You're wrong. You're being blown about by the wind, and it will end in disaster. So there's a poem that three of the koans, so these are all different ways of looking at it. So I'll give you another story and then we'll talk about this. There's a poem, the Xing Xing Ming, it's usually translated into English as I can't remember, Heart Mind. I've forgotten the title. Anyone can help if they like, but anyway, it's the poem of the Heart Mind. Which is Xing.
Sameness and difference?
No. That's the Sandakai. Thank you. That's not what it is. Doesn't matter. But the poem, and three of the koans in the Blue Cliff Records, 3 out of 100, are actually, Joshu liked to talk about this particular poem. So 3 of the koans are actually monks asking Joshu about this particular poem. And the poem begins, the great way is not difficult, just avoid picking and choosing. So you've all heard that. I've used that before, many people talk about that. And it goes on, if you avoid picking and choosing, the great way is laid out in front of you. But once you start to pick and choose, heaven and earth open up. A great gap opens up between heaven and earth. So it's this thing about not picking and choosing. But here we have to pick and choose when we're wandering around. But we pick and choose what to eat, what not to eat, which direction to go in, who to talk to, who not to talk to. We pick and choose. Let me start that sentence again. We have to act, but the picking and choosing is done without judgment. And that's the point. It's done without any form of judgment. So actually, I'll read you something here which will help as well. Hakuin, who was, I think he was 17th century Rinzai Zen in Japan, 18th century, he said, Mumon says he will not approve saying there is a difference or there is not a difference. Although this is a good comment, I would not give such a clumsy explanation if I were doing it, because he may explain it, but you cannot understand it. He may teach it, but you cannot learn it. One has to experience it personally himself, otherwise any knowledge about it will be to no avail. In the Atthakavagga, which is a set of poems in the Theravadan canon, it's in the Sutta Nipata, there's a section in there where we are advised, we are instructed not to hold ourselves as superior to anybody, not to hold ourselves as inferior to anybody, because to hold ourselves as superior has obvious issues. To hold ourselves as inferior also has issues. It's the other side of the same issues, right? But we don't think about that so much, but it's obviously true. And not to hold ourselves as equal to another. Now we're in relation to others, but we're not able to hold ourselves as superior, inferior, or even equal. We're not the same and we're not different. And we're not, it's the 4 negations, and we're not both the same and different and neither the same nor different. So that's the heart of this whole koan, and that's the heart of, it's also the place where this conundrum sits, that is the thing you can't wrestle to ground. If you say one hermit is superior to the other, you have not yet got the Zen eye. Or if you say there is no difference between the two, you have not got the Zen eye either. You just can't compare. There's no way of comparing these two. right? And that's really the point. And yet, we've got this conundrum where Joshu treated the two differently. So, holding up the fist, so what is he holding? He's holding nothing, right? But this nothing is actually everything as well. So I don't know if you may or may not remember Gute's finger. It's the same. It's really very similar to Gute's finger. Gute's one finger Zen. Anytime anybody asks Gute any kind of question, what are you having for breakfast? Where's the bathroom? Can you teach me today? One finger. So that finger is both nothing and everything, right? It's just a finger, but it actually represents and therefore is everything. A finger pointing at the moon. There's no moon until there is a finger pointing at it and saying, that's a moon. The moon and the finger are really, you can't separate the two. Without the finger pointing at it, we're dropping into language when we call it a moon. We're dropping it into objectification. There's an experience there, but it's the finger pointing at it that makes something. So the hand grasping is making something here. It's making nothing out of everything and everything out of nothing, if you will. So that hand grasping, that's the way I read this is directionally. That is, in each case, the hermit seeing through Joshu. And how that happens is what can't be described. Somebody has asked a question and they think of the answer, and as they're about to speak, the person asking the question puts the hand over their mouth. It's in that gap, realization that there's something in that gap between the thought partially being formed and fully coming out. It's not there and it's not there. So this is a style of response to Joshu is in that same place. And it's a way of responding to Joshu and not getting trapped. Not getting trapped in subject-object, not getting trapped in yes, no. It's a kind of a non-dual response. Where are we here? So we're working backwards through the commentary. Both held up their fists. Why did he approve the one and disapprove the other? Tell me, where is the core of the complication? If you can give a turning word on this point, you will see that Joshu is unrestrained in saying what he wants to say and utterly free to either help the one rise up or to push the other down. So I think this is most helpful if we read the last bit first. Joshu is unrestrained in saying what he wants and utterly free either to help the one rise up or to push the other down. So there is something that happened in each of those exchanges which is beyond the fist being held up. There's something there that caused Joshu to respond the way he did. And in each case, it was an act that was intended to help the hermit. It was intended as a connection and a verification or an aid. So Joshu is totally free. And the freedom that's being described here, there's freedom from the world, So there's the ability, the natural progression here in this path is to realize there is a natural path in this, practice to drop off and realize I am none of this and to be completely free, but not yet to understand all the other beings assembling themselves and creating all these balls of suffering, and so not to understand compassion. To understand emptiness, but not to understand compassion. The unrestrained behavior that we're seeing here is from a standpoint of understanding both. So he's utterly free to lift one up. What does it say? To help one rise up or to push the other down. Push the other down sounds unpleasant. I don't think it's intended as unpleasant. It's this direction of the relative and the absolute again. But Joshu is free to move and to move things and to move people. He's completely liberated, and completely aware. So, the poem. His eye, this is Joshu, his eye is a shooting star, his spirit is lightning. Just instantaneously, he cuts through stuff, he sees, he responds. A sword to kill and a sword to give life, which is the pushing down and lifting up respectively. To kill is to cut off and is to help somebody drop off body-mind, help somebody wake up, see reality. To give life is to help somebody come back, to cure this Zen sickness of being stuck in emptiness. So this is a very short but powerful description of a profound master. So this is a story of the engagement of the master with two hermits. And there we have it. Clear? Thoughts, questions, comments? I'll recap it, which is, Joshu's favourite poem probably was the Xing Xing Ming. Faith in heart mind is what that is for. Faith in heart mind. Ming is faith. Faith in heart mind. And so in a way, this is a gloss on that. It is a gloss on not picking and choosing. How do we manifest not picking and choosing in the world? Clay.
It made me think of this, and I'm sorry if it's completely irrelevant. But there's a game I used to play with Horace, where I would get a treat, and I'd put it in one hand, and I'd hold it out, and he would have to pick which one it's in by putting his nose to it. And after a while, he got really good at it because he could smell it.
Absolutely.
So what I would do is I'd put it behind my back, and every time he'd pick a hand, I'd open it up, and there was nothing there, and I'd bring it behind again. And I would see how long he would do that. And then after a while, he'd just sit and look at me, and then I'd give him the treat. And he'd stop playing after a while because he knew that if he just didn't choose, he would get the treat. And I realized he learned this very easily. So
yeah.
I don't know if that's kind of in the same vein, but I kept thinking like, oh, if you just don't choose, you get the treat. It
does point at the same thing. Because the picking and choosing is about showing a preference. That's what it's pointing at. It's about judging. It's about showing a preference. But in the real world, if you're hungry and there are two plates in front of you, you get the food off the one with the plate. You get the food off the plate with the food, and the other one you just ignore. You're not really exercising a preference. You're following an instinct. There's something just very natural about that. So the path you took Horace down was a path of completely cutting himself off, not engaging in the world at all, which is not what this is about. You are engaging in the world, but you have to engage in the world without showing preference. And how do we do that? Because one of your hands has a treat and one doesn't. There's a reason for preference, because he wants the food. Does that make sense? Beth?
You were reading the koan. I was thinking that each one of these situations with the two hermits, they were completely distinct and different in every way. I mean, because there's never two moments that are exactly the same because of the complexity of causes and conditions. They're absolutely unique. I'm sure that the way that Joshu Joshu spoke to the first hermit, even though they were the same words, his presence, his energy, the intonation, etc. And the same thing with the hermit's response.
Yep.
So to me, that was kind of the takeaway. Even after I heard the poem and the commentary and the thing, it was still just meeting each situation spontaneously as it arises without assumption.
Yep. Yes. Gute's finger, you're right. Every time Gute raised his finger, it was a different finger. It was a different moment. It was actually a totally different answer every time.
Yeah.
And another one where the external answer was different. I mean, as you said, they're always different. Everyone is different. Even if they look the same, they're all different. But the first koan in this collection, I didn't think of until you just brought this up, is Joshu's Mu. Because there was the koan that made it into this collection was the monk who came up and said, "Does a dog have Buddha nature?" And he said, "Mu," which means no. And of course that makes no sense, because of course a dog does have Buddha nature. Everything has Buddha nature. Everything is Buddha nature. So it's like this monk is utterly confused. But another monk, a week later, another monk went up to him and said, "Does a dog have Buddha? Does a dog have Buddha nature?" And Joshu said, "Of course it does." So yes, absolutely, Beth. And the point under that is that the different answer, the apparent difference in the answer is about the freshness and the spontaneity of the response, not a matter of judgment of one monk over the other. You got a bunch of flies going around in there, Beth?
Yeah, there's this huge fly that's been buzzing around all
Mhm.
evening. It's driving me crazy.
It's funny.
Sorry.
Did you have something, Claire?
No,
You're
I
just
was
chuckling about the fly.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
tickled by that.
Not much conversation tonight. It's okay. Let's finish up with a couple of rounds of metta. If you want to settle in, I'll lead us through some metta. You can go back to your chair if you want to stay there, whichever you prefer, Kitty. So let's start with ourselves. Bring these words inward and offer yourself these words of kindness. May I be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May I be free from fear. May I be healthy in body and mind. If I cannot have health in body and mind, may I be at peace with whatever comes. May I be filled with compassion. May I be held in loving kindness. May my suffering be a kind and a wise teacher. May I find joy and equanimity in this present moment, just as it is. May I be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May I be free from fear. May I be healthy in body and mind. If I cannot have health in body and mind, may I be at peace with whatever comes. May I be held in compassion. May I be filled with loving kindness. May my suffering be a kind and a wise teacher. May I find joy and equanimity in this present moment, just as it is. Now bring to mind a benefactor and offer these words of support to the benefactor. May I be safe, may you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May you be free from fear. May you be healthy in body and mind. If you cannot be healthy in body and mind, may you be at peace with whatever comes. May you be held in compassion. May you be filled with loving kindness. May your suffering be a kind and wise teacher. May you find joy and equanimity in this present moment, just as it is. May you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May you be free from fear. May you have health in body and mind. If you cannot have health in body and mind, may you be at peace, whatever comes. May you be held in compassion. May you be filled with loving kindness. May your suffering be a kind and a wise teacher. May you find joy and equanimity in this present moment, just as it is. Now bring to mind a neutral person. And offer these words to that person. May you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May you be free from fear. May you be healthy in body and mind. If you cannot have health in body and mind, may you be at peace with whatever comes. May you be held in compassion. May you be filled with loving kindness. May your suffering be a kind and a wise teacher. May you find joy and equanimity in this present moment, just as it is. May you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May you be free from fear. May you be healthy in body and mind. If you cannot have health in body and mind, may you be at peace with whatever comes. May you be held in compassion. May you be filled with loving kindness. May your suffering be a kind and a wise teacher. May you find joy and equanimity in this present moment, just as it is. Now think of a difficult person and offer these words to that difficult person. May you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May you be free from fear. May you be healthy in body and mind. If you cannot have health in body and mind, may you be at peace with whatever comes. May you be held in compassion. May you be filled with loving kindness. May your suffering be a kind and a wise teacher. May you find joy and equanimity in this present moment, just as it is. May you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May you be free from fear. May you be healthy in body and mind. If you cannot have health in body and mind, may you be at peace with whatever comes. May you be held in compassion. May you be filled with loving kindness. May your suffering be a kind and a wise teacher. May you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May you be free from fear. May you be healthy in body and mind. If you cannot have health in body and mind, may you be at peace with whatever comes. May you be held in compassion. May you be filled with loving kindness. May your suffering be a kind and a wise teacher. May you find joy and equanimity in this present moment, just as it is. Now, open your heart up to the entire universe, to all living beings throughout space and time, and offer these words of loving kindness to all beings. May you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May you be free from fear. May you be healthy in body and mind. If you cannot have health in body and mind, may you be at peace with whatever comes. May you be held in compassion. May you be filled with loving kindness. May your suffering be a kind and a wise teacher. May you find joy and equanimity in this present moment, just as it is. May you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May you be free from fear. May you be healthy in body and mind. If you cannot have health in body and mind, may you be at peace with whatever comes. May you be held in compassion. May you be filled with loving kindness. May your suffering be a kind and a wise teacher. May you find joy and equanimity in this present moment, just as it is.